Welcome everyone to the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jim.
And Jim, I believe this is the Feel Good edition.
Always a fan favorite.
That's right. So Jim, I couldn't help notice that Michigan and Michigan State are tied for first place in Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. You know, we usually we'll dabble into football every once in a while on the show here today, but today we can talk a little basketball because we got a couple good teams in the state.
That's right. And no one expected Michigan to be in this position because a year ago they were in dead last.
Yeah, what a turnaround.
Yeah, so Dusty May's done a great job with that turnaround, and they extended him.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of exciting to think that Michigan basketball could be back here for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Michigan basketball, remember Chris Webber from the Fab Five on HBO Max? I was watching last night. There's a show called We Beat the Dream Team. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this yet?
No, it's interesting.
I fell asleep, but I did love it when I was watching because it showed how, you had Jordan and Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley and all those guys, Magic, Bird, and then they had a bunch of college kids like Grant Hill and Chris Webber come in to play them to practice. And Grant Hill, he's the moderator of the show, apparently they beat the Dream Team in practice.
Oh, man.
And so I'm interested to see the rest.
Yeah, that sounds like a worthwhile watch.
So anyway, Jim, what's our topic today?
Today we're going to talk about 1031 exchange. So this comes up from time to time. We have clients, people who are in real estate, want to move on from one property. There's a 1031 rule where you can move that money into a new property and continue to defer the tax. But we have a new way to potentially do that. So we thought it would just be a great topic to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, the 1031's been around for a while, but we have a solution here, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and I think it's a great topic because, like I said, other individuals, I've talked to really several individuals recently who have a property they've sold, need to figure out what to do with the proceeds because they don't want to pay tax on the gain. And this is a new concept for people. So I think you got a good case study that you can work through for us to help us understand what might be possible.
Yeah, and in terms of a case study, it's me. So
wow.
I can talk about it firsthand.
You should know exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited because we have a duplex that has been appreciating very nicely, but it's been a kind of a pain in the butt rental property where we've had issues time and time again with tenants. So it just seemed like a good time to offload this. But CPA said if we sell it, we're going to owe over $50,000 in taxes. So I thought, well, I don't really want to pay the $50,000. I mean, we have the money to do it because you sell the house for a nice gain, but no one wants to pay an extra $50,000. And if you're still interested in real estate, then the 1031 is a pretty good solution to come up. So here's the story. Probably like 2018, we paid $190,000 for this rental, and we thought it might be worth $300,000. Well, we listed it for $300,000 and got a purchase agreement signed for $347,000. So these rental properties, they're worth maybe a lot more than you realize.
Yeah, especially because typically when we talk rentals, we don't talk about it for price appreciation, but it's been a really hot rental market, and this kind of duplex is really in demand. So.
Yeah, so we listed it for $300,000, Jim, and had 8 offers in the first weekend.
Wow, excellent.
And it was like a bidding war, and all of a sudden we get to $347,000 for the winner. So we accepted that one.
Very good.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So then the $50,000 was based on $300,000. So it raises the price of it raises the amount of tax even more. But you're paying that capital gain from $190,000 to $347,000. Okay. So that's taxed at capital gains. But then over the years, we've depreciated the house as well on our tax returns every year. You can depreciate over a 27-year period. So when you sell, you have depreciation recapture, which is taxed at ordinary income rates, which is much higher than capital gains rates. So that's how you get to all the tax. Okay. So we said, let's just kick the can down the road when it comes to paying this $50,000 or more in taxes. Let's do the 1031. So there's a program that we're going to roll the money into called Hines. And here's how it works. So when we sell, we have to have a qualified intermediary involved in the transaction where they collect a fee of like $1,000, and they hold the money. So instead of the title company giving you a check when you walk away from closing, it goes to this qualified intermediary. And that way you never take possession of the money, so you never get taxed on the money.
Okay.
And then they send it to the new investment. Kind of like when you do a rollover from a 401, you never cash the check. You take it from the 401 to Schwab.
Yeah.
And it never touches your bank. And so it's continued to be deferred on a rollover. So that's how it works. And now the qualified intermediary, the QI, sends the money to Heinz. And you know, a lot of our clients are in real estate programs. And so it's the same program. Okay. But you're just entering it through this 1031, and you collect a nice income. Okay. And hopefully we'll get appreciation. But the idea is that we're also diversifying our real estate holdings. So it's no longer just residential in Southeast Michigan. Now it goes to a global $3 billion, maybe $4 billion real estate investment trust, which is all across the U.S. and even some in Europe.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we like about Heinz, right? Is, I mean, it's not just single-family homes. It's high-end apartment buildings. It's logistics centers. It's distribution. It's, you know, a lot of really good real estate all across the world. Like you said, not just local to one area.
Yeah, and I don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
It just sits on your Schwab statement.
Yeah.
So
no bad tenants.
That's right. Yeah, and we've had some terrible tenants in this one. I could tell you some stories. We've been debating whether or not we should. I've done it before. We get a lot of hits on those, though.
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
It's a fan favorite.
Yeah, always for the feel-good edition. But here's the thing. If you, let's say, Jim, you purchased Heinz today with your own money, right, without the 1031. Well, in 2023, we don't know how it looks for 24 yet, but in 23, all of the income that you would have collected would have been tax deferred because of the depreciation.
Okay.
So your 6% yield would have been totally tax-free last year.
Yeah, that's great.
I got to be careful. Not tax-free, but tax deferred.
Yeah.
Okay. You pay the tax later. But for me, let's say my 190 of cost was depreciated down to 150. I don't know exactly what the number is, but let's just say that's it. And then you sell it for 347. Now I have to tell Heinz on the 1031 how much what's my basis, right? So let's say it's 150. Well, now when we invest the 347, my tax efficiency will be not as good as yours. Remember, I kicked the can, so I don't owe the tax. But let's say the yield is 6%. Well, part of that would be taxable for me, all else equal, versus you who comes in with fresh capital.
Understood.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that, okay? Now, let's say you fast forward another 2 years. Well, now, through the 1031 program, I could take my 150, my basis, back out tax-free and let the remaining amount ride. Now, that's pretty appealing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that a lot. I like it a lot. So that's kind of in a nutshell how the program works. So if you have an apartment building, a rental property, could be a good solution for you. It could be a partial 1031 as well. Let's say you've got a great big apartment building. You don't have to do the whole amount. It could be part.
Right.
Okay. What else did I want to say? Oh, I had someone ask about this because I was talking about this on the radio today. If you have a rental property and you want to buy a vacation property or a cottage, you can't do that. It has to be like property. So income producing to income producing. So if your vacation property is going to be rented out like Airbnb, then that's fine. But it can't be just from rental property to, you know, your primary residence or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. So if you have an interest in learning more about 1031s, reach out to us at peakwm.com and you can schedule an appointment online.